Steve Jobs, 7. NeXT. NeXT, Prometheus Unbound.
In August 1985, Steve Jobs returned from Europe with plans to start a new company focused on personal workstations. Dissatisfaction with Apple's reorganization fueled this decision. Despite initial support, Jobs' departure sparked controversy. The board initially proposed a 10% stake in his new venture, but Jobs and his team rejected this. At a subsequent board meeting, Jobs outlined his plan to leave Apple and received mixed reactions. His departure triggered accusations of betrayal, especially for taking key personnel. Apple, led by Markula, declared war on Jobs, accusing him of breaking promises. Jobs responded by inviting reporters for a private briefing and considered a press conference, but ultimately chose a more restrained approach. He personally delivered a resignation letter to Markula, stating that Apple's recent reorganization left him with no work. The letter expressed a desire for an amicable parting. Jobs-Sculley fallout and Apple's response. Upon leaving Apple, Jobs left behind a shattered picture frame of him and Sculley, symbolizing the end of their friendship. Apple's stock rose upon Jobs' resignation, with some East Coast stockholders relieved at his departure. Failed settlement attempts led Sculley and the Apple board to sue Jobs for alleged breaches of fiduciary duties, accusing him of secretly planning a competing enterprise and luring away key Apple employees. Jobs, owning 11% of Apple, worth over $100 million, began selling his shares and started a rival company, expressing vengeance against Apple, according to Joanna Hoffman. Jobs refuted the allegations, claiming the colleagues approached him and criticized Apple's neglect. He cooperated with a Newsweek cover to share his perspective, emphasizing his talent for working with talented people. Sculley tried to counter Jobs' narrative by reaching out to Wozniak, who declined Jobs' invitation to join his new venture. Wozniak criticized Jobs' integrity, citing past incidents like blocking frog design. Jobs, undeterred, continued to spin his story in the media. He expressed both affection for Apple and a willingness to fight against its management's accusations, seeing Apple as no longer confident and rebellious. To be on your own. Jobs' first instinct was design, evident in the creation of NeXT. He enlisted Paul Rand, a renowned graphic designer, to create a distinctive logo. Despite conflicts, Jobs admired Rand's approach and paid $100,000 for a single design. NeXT became more than a name, it was now stylized as NeXT. To collaborate with designer Hartmut Esslinger, Jobs needed to settle the Apple lawsuit. Fortunately, Sculley agreed, leading to an out-of-court settlement in January 1986. Jobs envisioned a perfect cube computer, ignoring engineering challenges. The design led to manufacturing difficulties, with intricate molding requirements costing $650,000. Jobs' obsession with craftsmanship continued at NeXT. He demanded aesthetically pleasing internal components, plating for screws, and insisted on a costly matte black finish. Despite leasing new, well-designed spaces, Jobs had them gutted and rebuilt to meet his standards. Even when moving to a larger office, Jobs sought dramatic changes, commissioning renowned architect I.M. Pei for a grand, floating staircase. The NeXT computer. Jobs aimed to differentiate NeXT from competitors like IBM. To achieve this, he opted for custom chips, which caused delays due to constant function revisions. Jobs' insistence on a proprietary factory repeated the mistakes of the Macintosh venture. He paid excessive attention to aesthetics, leading to delays in production. Despite challenges, Jobs sustained a charismatic leadership style. He used charm or humiliation as needed, showcasing spunkiness with gestures like congratulating a fired ad firm. However, Jobs' reality distortion field persisted at NeXT. For example, he announced an impossible shipping date, fueling pressure due to financial concerns. Perot to the rescue. By September 1986, NeXT faced financial hurdles, signaling a rocky path ahead. Despite the challenges, Jobs continued to sustain his charismatic leadership style. Steve Jobs sought $3 million for a 10% NeXT stake, but was rejected multiple times. Ross Perot, inspired by a PBS documentary, offered $20 million for a 16% share, valuing NeXT at $126 million. Perot's credibility and networking were a significant benefit to NeXT. His mythologized tales about Jobs added to NeXT's aura. Gates and NeXT. Bill Gates, despite past collaborations with Jobs, resisted developing software for NeXT. Gates criticized NeXT publicly, hindering third-party interest. Their rivalry was fueled by their differing philosophies. Jobs emphasized innovation, while Gates dismissed NeXT as incompatible and doomed to failure. At a forum in 1989, Jobs and Gates presented contrasting visions. Gates reiterated the separation of hardware and software markets, dismissing Jobs' end-to-end control. Their debates showcased their fundamental disagreements. Their rivalry was crucial in shaping the tech industry. IBM. Jobs licensed NeXT software to IBM in 1988. IBM was impressed by NeXT's demo and agreed to license NeXT Step. The deal caused controversy when IBM insisted on disclosure, angering Gates. Other computer makers sought to clone NeXT, alarming Gates. As IBM's interest waned and Jobs sought more money, the relationship soured. The deal lapsed, and NeXT missed the chance to revolutionize the industry. The launch, October 1988. Jobs' theatrical product launches were legendary. NeXT's unveiling in 1988 was no exception. Jobs showcased NeXT's capabilities, emphasizing the machine's uniqueness. However, the product's delayed release and higher education pricing disappointed. Despite these setbacks, the launch ended on a positive note with a musical performance. But when NeXT finally hit the market in mid-1989, sales were far below expectations.